Hey, y'all. My name is Doug, and I got to tell you, we are so excited to be here. We've been traveling around this country in buses like these two since the 17th of January. And that whole time, the one place we've been looking forward to come to, and I'm not just saying this as serious as it comes, is to come to Rome, Georgia. We've been thinking about it. We've been planning it. We tried to come a couple of weeks ago, and the bus broke down. And we said, we're going to make it there because it matters what's going to happen in this district. The 14th district of this great state of Georgia is going to matter in our elections. It's going to matter to all of you. And we get to do double duty by saying we need you to vote Harris 2 weeks from today if you haven't voted yet. Kamala Harris and Shawn Harris, and that's a real honor to be able to say something like that. Now, there's a lot of things we could say about the woman who's currently your representative, and I'll tell you, I'm an evangelical pastor. I've been a preacher my entire adult life, and I believe a few things. I believe we're all beloved children of God, light of the world, salt of the earth. Be absolutely clear, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a beloved child of God, salt of the earth, light of the world. But not every light of the world should be shining their light in the United States Congress, and she needs to be cheered on to take her little light and shine that somewhere else and stop bothering the good people of the 14th Congressional District and stop bothering the good people of this country. So, Shawn, I don't know if you're ready to talk to these friends, but we'd sure love to hear from you, because when we heard that you were running, now I know you just met us, Shawn, but we've been following you for a while. When we heard that you were running, saw your background, saw your profiles, have seen some of your videos, our little hearts started to pitter patter. So it means a lot to us that you'd let us come here and support you. Thank you for running, and thanks for all that you're doing.
Hey, wow. Thank y'all guys for coming. It's not every day in Rome, Georgia, that 2 buses show up. You can't beat that. But let me just say to everyone out here, we are in the middle of the fight right now. We are in the middle of the fight. And it's all about making sure that you get your friends, your cousins, your enemies, everybody out to go vote. But let me step back and say something. Get yourself prepared. My name is Brigadier Shawn Harris, retired, and I'm the guy that's going to beat Marjorie Taylor Greene. So, when it comes to this race, I just always say the same thing. Ask yourself a simple question. What has Marjorie Taylor Greene done for you? Let me say that again. What has Marjorie Taylor Greene done for you? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And let me also say this. This election should be personal. This election should be something that you take the time and think through, what is your representative actually doing? Because today, we are right here in Rome, Georgia. We are less than 5 miles away from her house, and I guarantee you she's never been to this neighborhood, ever. And at the end of the day, your representative should be representing everyone here in the Northwest Georgia, all the way from Tennessee line, all the way back through Floyd County, through Polk County, to Paulding, and all the way into West Cobb. We are very diverse. We're ready to get out there and work. And let me just say this in closing. In 14 days, we will shock the world. And when I say shock the world, we're going to shock the world 2 ways. And I'm the easiest, I am the guy that can only say this. Here in Georgia, specifically Northwest Georgia, the test is easy. Question number 1, who do you want to be your president? What's that last name? Harris. Question number 2, who do you want your congressman to be? Harris. At the end of the day, it don't get no easier than that. So I close it this way. Stay fired up. Go out there and work. Take somebody else to the polls. Make sure that you leave it all on the field. Do not wake up on November 6th and say, I wish I would have did something. Because if you following Shawn Harris and you follow me on social media, You know I'm 5 and 6 places at a time. I had my first conversation this morning, 7 o'clock this morning, on the morning show, at least 100 miles away from here. And when I leave here, I'm going to another event to sit down with some great cattlemen. Yes, I said cattlemen because I'm a farmer. And guess what? Let me just say it this way. When we fight, when we fight, let's get up, let's go fight, get people to the polls. Don't wait till November 6th. Let's make sure we making history every day here in Georgia and getting people to the polls. We thank our friends that just came here on the bus. Before I leave, I want to make sure that I sign my name to this bus. Because at the end of the day, it is not every day that a bus like this shows up in Northwest Georgia. So we thank y'all guys for your leadership. We thank you for everything you're doing. We thank you for your support. And Northwest Georgia is going to be the reason why the Harrises win this election.
Before I introduce Dan Dietrich, if we need a visual for Harris, if we can't remember that, I came up with a way we could remember this. Kamala Harris has the longest hair of any presidential candidate ever, and you have the least hair of any congressional candidate from this district. So if you can't remember Harris, just think hair and vote for Harris. This is my friend Dan Dietrich, everybody.
Well, we're going to play a little song that reminds us that no one is free until we're all free. And while we're signing the bus, and if you want to sign the bus at any point during the evening, we got Sharpies up there. We'd love to take you with us on the bus, sign your name on there, and as we're traveling across the country trying to get faith voters to vote for people like Harris and Harris, we'd love to take you with us on the bus, so sign that bus. There's a world at war, caught in suffering, silent casualties. Oh God, grant us peace. In these sleepless nights, I can hardly breathe. Despite brutality, I know that we'll be free. I know that we'll be free. To let the light in, keep it shining. Let it break into the darkness. All the love there's us to see. We'll all be free. Yeah. Let the light in, keep it shining. Let it break into the darkness. All the love there's us to see. We'll all be free. Yeah, we'll all be free. Yeah. In these desperate times, love will hold us here. Love will hold our hands, keep us to have no fear. So we lay our hate down to wash their feet. And when we see our brothers, oh, we'll all be free. Yeah. Let the light in, keep it shining. Let it break into the darkness. All the love there's us to see. We'll all be free. Yeah. Let the light in, keep it shining. Let it break into the darkness. All the love there's us to see. We'll all be free. Yeah, we'll be free. Free. We'll all be free. Oh, we'll be free. Free. We'll all be free. Oh, we'll be free. Free. to see. We'll all be free. Let the light in, let the light in, keep it shining. Let it break into the darkness. All the love there's us to see. We'll all be free. Oh, we'll all be free. Yes, we'll all be free. All right. Well, come on up.
Good evening, good evening. I can tell you there's no place like home. When I say I'm at home, born and raised here in Rome, Georgia, grew up on Nixon Avenue right around the corner. So when I say I'm at home, I am at home. That is no place like home. And who would have thought that we would have 2 Democratic buses here in the hood? So now that we're bringing it to the neighborhood, it is so good to see so many smiling faces for the right cause. I don't know, I am Elena Beeman, and I am currently a Rome City Commissioner. And thank you. It's my pleasure to be of service to all mankind. And my brother over here, Mr. Bill Collins, has been on the grill. My fellow commissioner, past mayor, is always in the house, always supporting me and uplifting me, so I appreciate it also. But I wanted to share something with y'all, and I want y'all to think real hard about this, because this, I don't know if it hit y'all yet. On MLK Day, the official MLK Day in 2025 will be the inauguration day. I want y'all to think about that. And when on inauguration day, my Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority sister, Miss Kamala Harris, will be our United States president. And guess what? Now you got to decide, are you going to Washington, D.C., or are you going to stay down here and party with me? It's hard for me to decide right now, too, because I know that is an exciting moment. But we don't need to let our guard down, because we've got so many sisters, brothers, cousins, next-door neighbors who hasn't voted yet. And my biggest concern is it may be a one down to 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 votes. But it is a serious matter, and we cannot let our guard down, because we need somebody in the White House who's approachable, who's honest, who's educated, who knows our communities, who cares about our bodies, and who wants to make sure that we have the best quality of life. So this, when I say is a serious matter, it is indeed. When we run for office, we can't think about ourselves. We have to think about each and every one of you. So the candidate that we have in place in this race matters. It matters in the State House, it matters in our Congressional House, and it matters in the White House. I am Elena Beeman. I made my vote. I'm still running, trying to make sure that we have more votes. My duty is not over. Your duty is not over. And on MLK Day, which is Inauguration Day, you got to decide where you're going to be when history is made. And I say, get out to vote, 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 like your life depended on it, because it does. In 2025, let's put Kamala Harris, Harris and Mr. Kevin in office. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to share with you a little piece called "To Support and Defend the Constitution, So Help Me God." On 9/11, Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 commercial airplanes and deliberately crashed 2 of the planes into the north and south towers of the World Trade Center. The crashes created a massive fireball, creating a thick plume of smoke over New York City. The towers collapsed, and people outside ran in fear for their lives. The 3rd hijacked plane was crashed into the Pentagon and created a wide and burning gash. And after learning about the other attacks, passengers on the 4th hijacked plane, Flight 93, bravely fought back and crashed the plane into an open field in western Pennsylvania about 20 minutes by air from Washington, D.C. The 9/11 attacks killed 2,977 people and would become the deadliest terrorist attack from a foreign adversary on U.S. soil. I remember hearing the news that morning at work, and after arriving at home later that afternoon, watching the events unfold on my television. The scenes of mass devastation, confusion, and loss resembled a war zone and overwhelmed me with such anger and grief that I wept uncontrollably and beat the air with my fists. That day would be a day to never forget, not just because of these overwhelming emotions, but because of my growing obligation towards service to country and a widening sense of love for country. Because of 9/11, I would enlist in the military. So standing in a room with a handful of young men and women, I prepared to take the military's oath of enlistment. A sergeant called us to attention, directed us to raise our right hand and to repeat after him. I, Nick Brock, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice, so help me God. It was at that moment that I had committed my whole self, not just to protect and defend a particular branch of service, not the flag, not the country, and not even the president, but rather to the Constitution, which symbolized all of these things. You see, I was now a part of something much larger than just myself. Indeed, so help me God. I would serve under this oath in the United States Air Force for 10 years and afterward be honorably discharged. 6 years after that, though, I would be reminded of the solemnity for my oath on January 6, 2021. On January 6, former President Trump summoned a violent mob to march on the U.S. Capitol in support of his wholly fabricated charge that the 2020 presidential election had been stolen from him. 2,500 people overran police barricades, beat, bloodied, and tased police officers. They smashed through windows, they smashed through doors, and they ran through the halls of Congress threatening to hang Mike Pence, execute the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, and do God knows what to other office holders. 114 law enforcement officers were injured, and 7 people died as a result of the violent attack. The insurrection of January 6th was an unprecedented domestic terrorist attack on U.S. soil. Full stop. I remember hearing the news while sitting at my dining room table and watching the scene unfold on my laptop. I abruptly stood up to pace my living room with tears of anger and grief streaming down my cheeks. My visceral reaction was reminiscent of 9/11 as I recalled my oath. I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. You see, January 6th would not be just a day to never forget, just because the seat of our democracy was desecrated, but because of this simple yet breathtaking fact. Former President Trump and I, both worlds apart from each other in every sense of the word, had one thing in common. One, to defend the Constitution to our best abilities. Yet I was the one who bore true faith and allegiance to the same and left my post honorably. You see, January 6th was just more than quote unquote a problem or that simply former President Trump had left the White House as vice presidential candidate and military veteran J.D. Vance would have us all believe. No. To the contrary, former President Trump attempted to overturn the election results in order to seize power illegally and remain in office. And when his violent mob had laid siege to our Capitol, he watched the attack on television for more than 3 hours and refused to tell the insurrectionists to go home. And after they had damaged the Capitol to the tune of nearly $3 million, he chose to finally address his insurrectionist mob with a wink and nod of approval, saying, "We love you. You're very special." Trump violated his oath to the Constitution and brought dishonor to thousands of military members around the globe who remain steadfast to their oath of enlistment. And most unequivocally, to the countless men and women who lost their lives in service of that cause. My fellow Americans, in this election, we must choose to honor those who give everything and gave everything in support of American freedom and democracy. This is our obligation and the cause of our time. We all know full well that the first 3 words of the original handwritten and signed Constitution makes this obligation clear, declaring from the outset, "We the people," with oversized black lettering that looms large over all the rest. In the same way, we must continue to place an oversized and emboldened obligation to vote for political leaders that will do the same. In order to form a more perfect union, we, the people, depend on the goodwill and their dedication to duty to ensure the survival of our republic. My fellow Americans, is this not our obligation and the cause of our time? If your answer is an overwhelming and heart-filled yes, will you stand with me right here and now, on this grass, in this place, and under this sky? Will you stand with me and say yes with your vote to ensure the protection of the Constitution of the United States? Yes. Will you stand with me and say yes to ensure the survival of our republic with your vote? Yes. And will you stand with me and say yes to support democracy for all with all of your faith, all of your hope, and all of your love, not only on Election Day, but on each and every day? Yes. Thank you. My name is Nick Brock. I'm a United States Air Force veteran, and I do solemnly swear that I will continue to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. So help me God.
I have never ever been so proud of to be standing in this spot where we as a community, and as one of your leaders, along with Mr. Ralph Davis, wherever he's at, it's been the chairperson of the community development over here, to see this all come full circle. But it is just absolutely wonderful. But the reason I'm standing here before you today, I think that me and our next president, Ms. Harris, got a whole lot in common. Me being a black man, and probably never had a dream that one day of being the leader of this community. I've been mayor. I was mayor for around 2 years during the COVID years. I've been part of hopefully improving our citizens' life for over 28 years as a commissioner. And when this bus rolled up today, bearing part of the name of my wife, Faith, and then hope, and then love, that's what I always been about. And I know if we can keep those words and keep the faith, our next president is going to be the Harris. Our next general is going to be the congressman. And of course, Kevin coming right in there and kicking the door in. This is going to be great. Can I hear a big cheer for all of these guys, please? My grandson, I got two of them out here today. And again, Rome, you guys have showed out today. You really have. And we're so appreciative, Kevin and Gerald, that you guys brought this to this community. You see, this is the largest African-American bloc in the city of Rome. And at one time, you talking about proud. It had everything in that you could ever think of in this community that you're standing in here today. It had grocery stores. It had laundromats. People were like, it was like a village over here. We had our own recreation department, etc. But today starts a new beginning for us. And I want everybody, and I can't say it enough, let's say it together. Let's go out and what? Vote. Let's say it again. Let's go out and what? Vote. Let's tell everybody we know. Take them to the poll with you. See if they need a ride. Let's just get them to the poll, and if you can get there and get them to go early, let's do that. But you may not can get off from work, or something might happen the day of election. Let's go now. Let's go while the polls are open, and everybody have a chance to help somebody, and let's get these people elected. Thank you so very much. You want to say something, my grandson, Mikhail? What you want to say? Say vote.
Vote.
So great. Well, my name is Dan, and I'm so honored to be with you here today. And I thought maybe I could share a little story with you through a song. See, I was a pastor for a bunch of years. And in 2016, I saw 81% of white evangelicals vote for a man that looked nothing like Jesus. And that's the world I come from, and that didn't sit well with me. And so I put my frustrations and my anger and disappointment into a song, and I put that song out into the world in 2020. And a couple weeks later, I was fired from the church where I was a pastor. And sometimes when you speak up and stand up, there are consequences, but it's still worth doing. So here's my song. It's called Hymn for the 81%. And maybe it's a bit of your story as well. I grew up in your churches, Sunday morning and evening service. I knelt in tears at the foot of the rugged cross. You taught me every life is sacred. Feed the hungry and clothe the naked. I learned from you the highest law is love. And I believed you when you said I should trust the words in red to guide my steps through a wicked world. I assumed you'd do the same, so imagine my dismay when I watched you lead the sheep straight to the wolves. You said to love the lost, well, I'm loving you now. You said to speak the truth, well, I'm calling you out. Why don't you live the words that you put in my mouth? May love overcome and justice roll down. Oh, they started putting kids in cages, ripping mothers from their babies. And I look to you to speak on their behalf. Oh, but all I heard was silence. Or worse, you justified it, singing glory, hallelujah, raise the flag. See, your fear, it turned to hatred, but you baptized it with language torn from the pages of the good book. You weaponized religion, and you wonder why I'm leaving to find Jesus on the wrong side of your walls. You said to love the lost, well, I'm loving you now. You said to speak the truth, I'm calling you out. Why don't you live the words that you put in my mouth? May love come and justice roll down. Come home, come home. You're better than this. Oh, you taught me better than this. Come home, come home. You're better than this. I used to think you were better than this. Come home, come home. Oh, maybe I was too naive, or I just didn't want to see that there's always been a little poison in the well. Our churches sit on stolen land, a nation built by stolen hands, and we use the Bible to justify it all. Yeah, from slavery and segregation to mass incarceration. This is who we are, but not who we have to be. There's a lot of work to do to pull up the evil by the roots, but repentance has to come before there's peace. And you said to love the lost, I'm trying to love you now. You said to speak the truth, well, I'm calling you out. Why don't you live the words that you put in my mouth? May love overcome, injustice rule down. May love overcome, injustice rule down. May love overcome, justice roll down. May love overcome and justice roll down. Hey, thank you so much. Thanks for being here tonight. And who we got next? Anybody gonna share a few words? All right, great. Yeah, let's give him a hand.
Good evening. Well, it's kind of hard to follow the song like that, but welcome to South Rome. We are quite proud and glad to have you here to show off our community association building and our garden especially, that I'm very proud of. And I was looking at the bus here, faith, hope, and love. That reflects South Rome. It really does. It has grown to be that, and it's all for the common good. So we welcome you to to the South Rome community. We are very proud to have Shawn and Kevin here and wish them the best. We've got our get out and early vote signs. I'm on the election board, so we've made it as easy as possible for everyone to be able to get out and vote. Open from 7:30 to 5:30 for the next few weeks, and the Saturday and Sunday voting as well. Vote early. You won't have to be in line on November 5th to vote. So please vote early and let everyone know the jewel that we have here in South Rome. Thank you.
Oh. Uh-oh. You didn't tell me you were a Baptist preacher.
Yeah. It was a rainy night. It's good to be a Democrat. Guys, thank you. Thank you, everyone here. When the Vote for Common Good bus and the community reached out to Shawn and I a month ago, a lot of people don't know this, they wanted to come. But their bus broke down in Iowa. And me being the state house rep said, well, that's fine, we can fix it. We can get it out here. And they were not having that. So I'm very pleased that they were able to work it in at the last minute here, coming in this October as we're pushing towards the polls. Ralph Davis, thank you. Thank you for letting us use the community garden. Bill, thank you for cooking. All of you, thank you. I know that I said that a lot to you guys here these last 8-9 months, but as we come to the final close here, I want you to know that this is the final push. And what we decide here today, tomorrow, and the next 15 days will dictate the rest of all of our futures. Your future, your future, your future, my kids' futures, your future. And I say we've got some fighters. Let's let them fight. Let's get in there. Let's fix some things. Let's clean it up with the faith, hope, and love practices that we use every day. I love every one of you. Help me finish this out, and then I'm going to take a nap on November 6th. I love you guys. Get some food. Have a great night.
Kevin, thank you. And thank you for running for office. I had the privilege of running for that same seat back in Minnesota back in 2010. And it's really hard because a lot of people don't even know that there's someone running for that seat, let alone that there's a seat that you could be running for. You all know because you're here, but you all probably have a friend that you could remind, somebody you could get out. So you know how to do that because you're here. Thank you. I got to tell you, this means a lot to us. This morning we were down in Atlanta. We were doing an event with the Kamala Harris campaign. We helped to organize more than 1,000 interfaith leaders around the country to endorse Kamala Harris for office. They signed a petition, put their names out publicly. And I got to tell you, faith leaders across the faith traditions tend not to do that. They don't like to step outside the pulpits, step outside the mosques, step outside the synagogues with their voice. More than 1,000 of them. It's incredible. So we had an event with them today. And that was enheartening. Made us feel good and made us feel like we're part of something powerful. It means a lot to me. I'm from Minnesota. Maybe some of you recently heard about Minnesota. It's one of those M states that you don't need to know where they are because Governor Walz is going to be the next vice president of the United States. So I had the privilege of voting for him twice. There's 2 times he ran as governor. I voted for him last week to be the vice president, voted for Kamala Harris 4 years ago to be vice president, voted for her to be president this time. So that all feels really good. But I'll tell you what it's really about, and that's what's happening right here. You know who people trust? They trust you. So I want to thank you for letting us be here with you. It means a lot. We're going to leave here tonight and start driving up toward Ohio. We're going to be in Ohio tomorrow. And then we're going to be running events on Thursday in Ohio. And then we're going up to Michigan. Then we're going over to Wisconsin. We're going to be in Green Bay and then over in Eau Claire and then back into Michigan again. Then all the way across Michigan, then into Pennsylvania. And we're going to do multiple events every day for the next 2 weeks through Election Day. And here's the thing we're going to be remembering. This meeting, this get together. I promise you, it gets lonely out there on those roads and we're going to be thinking about this day. So if you'd be so kind as to come up and sign one of these buses for us. It would really mean a lot to put your name on there. You might think we just walk by and see thousands of signatures, they don't mean anything. We know where people sign that bus. So if you'd be so kind, and then if you'd be willing to take one of these I will vote, faith not fear, hope not hate, and love for all signs, take one of those signs with you and put it next to a Shawn Harris, or put it next to a Kamala Harris, or put it next to Kevin. So Kevin, do you have signs for him? Put it next to one of Kevin's signs. And put it out there and let your neighbors know that Republicans don't own faith, hope, and love. It belongs to all of us. So I don't know. I know it's a lot to ask. It's late at night already, and we're out here asking you for things. But if you'd take one of these signs and put it in your yard, if you'd put your signature on that bus, it would sure mean a lot to us. And then if you're over at the table, maybe you find a button, maybe you find some postcards, some other things. But thank you so much for letting us be with you. And maybe we'll have a bite to eat with you, and then we'll get packed up and then start making our way all the way up to Ohio. So thank you for such a great day for us.